Welcome back to another exciting episode of Work the Talk, the podcast that brings you insightful conversations from the world of work. I'm your host and host, and today we have a very exceptional guest lined for you, Captain Sudeep Ghoshal. He's a war veteran, he's an alumni of IIM Calcutta and recently ISB. He's a seasoned professional with a remarkable track record in organizational leadership, general administration, corporate real estate, security management, so on and so forth. This episode is particularly going to cover the changing role of administration in workplaces, specifically large scale ones. He is the best person for it because he has nearly 26 years of experience, 6 years in Army infantry, and the remaining 20 years in the corporate landscape. He has worked and contributed in companies like Accenture, Zenta. He's currently the Vice President of Administration and Infrastructure at Reliance Capital. He is handling, of course, all the offices and over 1,300 branches at Reliance. In addition to this impressive trajectory that he has had, he has also been recognized very recently by ET Edge, the Times Group, as a champion of facility management in 2023 for his valued contribution in this space. He has also been featured among the top pathfinders in the Commercial Design magazine for contributions to creating the best workplaces in India. So he has a wealth of experience, and I'm sure you're all going to gain a lot from this episode. Thank you so much, Captain Ghoshal, for taking out the time and doing this with us.
Yeah, firstly, let me thank you for such a warm welcome, Asta. And I was not sure that I've actually done so many things. I still consider myself to be very young.
My first question to you is, the COVID-19 pandemic has essentially changed the way the workplaces operate. The administrative function has changed drastically, actually. Are there any catastrophe ready innovations or strategies or playbooks or game plans that you have in place? How are organizations approaching the admin function now? What is your take on that?
I mean, I am currently from the NBFC sector, which happens to be, a part of the essential services sector in India. And if you recollect, during the COVID period, there were certain essential services which were
Yeah.
supposed to function and not, we were not the fortunate ones to be staying at home, doing remote working. Because even our employees had to be in office as we were working from office due to regulatory requirements. So that is one thing. I mean, for us, our experience of handling the COVID situation was not post the COVID, or it was as and when COVID progressed. We also progressed with, coming up with all kinds of initially jugards. I will be very frank. Initially, the jugards that we could get, and later on, improvising on those jugards and making it a process. So that's how it started. Rather, I was one of the first ones to get impacted in my organization. I was the first one to actually get COVID. So
Oh,
I think my experience started from there itself, and it was a kind of a journey wherein after that I knew as to how I need to handle the people who are going through it, the employees who are going through it, and how we as an organization could take care of those employees and their families in turn, because the families were more worried about those employees. So, coming to your question about post pandemic, how things have changed. Of course, there have been significant changes overall. I mean, today organizations are looking at remote working, slowly going towards hybrid working now, because they cannot afford to have remote working throughout. Employees are also not very much in for it. So digitalization has happened. It's happened in a big way. The organizations who started looking into the health and safety protocols of employees, the well-being of employees. So some of the things that were adopted by the organizations more so to do with changes in their entire workplace policies. earlier, for them, admin department or admin role was just one of the support function roles. So this department kind of became the center point, and almost in all the organization they proved themselves. So now talking about future ready, or I feel that you cannot be perfect 100% ready for any kind of a situation, and situations might keep changing. I mean, 2 years back it was pandemic. Today, many parts of the world are going through war situations. You never know with our friendly neighbors when we can get into such kind of a situation, and otherwise also, um, uh, given the election season, the political scenario within the country also, there can be times when you might have to, be prepared to look into certain kind of eventualities that might come up, and be prepared for it. And basically, it has to be an approach where an ongoing, workplace reinvention kind of a thing, and we'll have to be more resilient
Yeah.
to these type of any type of disruption that can come in.
Yeah. What
So
a wonderful
yeah,
word, workplace reinvention. So how
yeah.
would you define that? What would be a part of, workplace reinvention? How do you see that roadmap?
So I'll go back to the early, maybe late 70s, early 80s. The office environment, chair, table, the typical government office, and slowly that changed with the computers coming in. So now that was a time when people thought that our jobs will go. Right, everybody was worried that computers are in. Now the people who are not using the computers, or because of computers, their jobs will go. Now, in the last 25 years or 2.5 decades, what has happened is today we are moving towards AI, ML, data science. Now people are again worried that because of AI we will lose our job. But what is actually happening is we are actually reinventing ourselves, and we are changing our workplace strategies.
Yeah.
So at one point in time, admin function was just like, get some travel bookings done, make arrangements for guests coming into the office, or look into the stationery and those aspects. Today, workplace leader or a facility leader, he is more of a experienced leader. He is the guy who is responsible to give the employees an experience wherein they are more productive. They feel the need to come back to office every day. They look forward to coming back to office every day. So
Yeah.
see, it has changed from a typical, table and chair thing to, collaborative spaces, isolated spaces also for meetings, the places where different departments can interact with each other for certain projects. So it's changing. It's changing. And today we are in the hybrid culture when, we are doing hot desking. People are looking more into optimization of seat utilization and other things. Tomorrow, you never know things. I mean, we are working on the go. We are working on our mobile phones and still being productive. So things
Yeah.
can change in the, so we have to continuously reinvent ourselves, and even the same is the case with the workplace. So that's the reason I use that term reinvention.
Absolutely. So you just said there's been a metamorphosis of the old workplace to the new one, which is, of course, it's a perpetual thing. It continues.
Yes.
How, according to you, has it impacted the traditional role of an administrator? And in if we translate it into our daily lives, when you are hiring your team, or maybe new members in your team, what is the new skill
Right.
set that you're looking at for them to be very well suited and adapted to the upcoming scenario?
So, firstly, because of the new technologies coming in, and there are organizations adopting some feature or the other. In what I would generally prefer is first upgrade the skills of the existing team members, give them an opportunity. See what you are going to implement in your organization. We know the large organizations, they can afford to implement these throughout their entire organization. However, there will be certain organizations who might only pick and choose certain tools
Yeah.
that they might require. Secondly, um, I'll say the ongoing learning phase for each of the professionals who decide to come into this profession. So continuously upgrade your own skills is what I will. say,
Yeah.
and help the team also to do it. Find out which are the skill sets you require for your function,
Yeah. Yeah.
which you are planning to implement, and then make them go through those skills,
Yeah.
upgrading of those skills.
So, in the sector that you are right now, and you said that
Right.
not every organization is going to implement everything, which is absolutely correct, right? What do you think are the most basic things that people, it is very imperative for a workplace of tomorrow to be ready, specifically with the millennials and Gen Zs coming in, and they're so used to,
Right.
natively using
Yes.
these apps and having on-demand services. What do you think?
Right.
What if what would be the roadmap or a step case for in your eyes? For a workplace to get itself futurized?
So, like you mentioned, I mean, you have to take small steps. The smaller organizations can start with small things like digitization of their documents. Next would be visitor management systems. Even
Even
today, many
today.
you will find 70% of the organizations you go, they're still using the registers and the pens at the reception. And in case you have a lot of assets, you are an asset heavy organization, then you might want to have an asset management system available with you. Next, today, which is most important post the pandemic, wherein everybody wants to optimize, is space management. I know BPO which use like the same seat 24 by 7. So it's not even a 1:1, it is 2:1 kind of a ratio,
Yeah.
wherein two people are using one seat throughout the day. And even if it is a 8-hour shift, I have seen it can be there are certain projects and processes who use it at a optimization of around 2.5 to 2.7 also. I'm
Wow.
not saying 3 is to 3, I mean 3 is to 1, but 2.5 also is achievable too. So they are using it in that manner, which essentially is basically you are saving your cost. You are,
Absolutely.
helping increase your bottom line, and that's the reason I say we as an organization, I mean we as a department, we provide value to the customers, which are our internal customers, the employees, so that they are happy. Once they are happy, they will be more productive. At the same time, we are not just an expense center like most of the people today.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
today, they think that we are expense center. I feel we are contributing very well in form of we may not be generating revenues, but we are definitely
Saving.
saving amounts which are almost similar to generating the revenues.
Yeah.
So, which even the management today realizes.
Which is where I'm going to come to my next question to you. When we start talking about the workplace journey, there are a lot of intangibles that come in. And internal selling of these tools, while I think these tools essentially, my belief is that they become self-paying. They have saved so much cost that they're paying for themselves.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
the to communicate that thought, it
Hmm.
very, very strong leadership is required within the organization. People need to champion that cause in a manner that they can very easily translate the benefit of it to the higher up. What are your
Right.
thoughts? And what would, like, I think your advice to everybody listening this podcast is going to be very important, because this is definitely a pain point.
So if you ask me personally, I first begin with creating, or rather developing relationships. It is the trust that they have in you.
Yeah.
If today I go to my promoters or my bosses or the leadership, even the board of directors, and I say that, okay, I want to do this, today I have that kind of trust that they don't even question me. So I'll just give you a small anecdote from
Absolutely.
my organization. So we had done an employee satisfaction survey by a third party, outside party, and the results were quite poor at that point in time, because what had happened was we were all we are a conglomerate, and at that point in time we were all the group companies were scattered. They were in different locations. They were supposed to come into one building in a group headquarters. Unfortunately, at that point in time, the survey was carried out. And later on, the results were declared at the time when the employees had actually moved into the
Move
new
to the new
building.
office.
Yeah. And the report was shared with the chairman, and he was very upset looking at the report, because the report said only 27% of the employees were satisfied. And he thought that in a new building where everything was provided for, it was a state of the art building, and uh, he was very upset with the result. He
Yeah.
thought, so I was the one to be called for the first one, in the line of fire. So I went met him, and he was like, I always thought that this department, I always looked down upon this department, but today I really can say that, you guys are good for nothing. I
Um,
was like little taken aback. I was not
mm,
sure why he's saying this, but then he showed me the result.
yeah.
Till then, the results were not even declared to the employees. It was only shared with the leadership, and so still, somehow managed the situation. Told him that I'll get back to you, and we'll make sure that this you'll see an improvement in this in the next survey. So I took it up as a challenge, and then what we started doing was slowly started meeting each and every organization, means group companies, department by department, all their employees, started understanding their pain points. And I used to
Wow.
personally make it a point that every day, one meeting, half an hour, I'll slot with one of the group companies, one of their departments, along with their HR. And that is how I started off. And by the end of the next survey, when the next survey was carried out, this result directly jumped from 27 onwards to 75.
Wonderful.
And out of all the support functions, we were at just the best function which performed the best in that 1 year. So that is how the journey started. Say advice, but I'll suggest to my peer group in the industry that if you are planning to do something, even if it is a small thing, do it in a way. They say na kaam karo to kamal karo. So do it in
Absolutely.
that way so that people, after that they don't question you. Of course, when you're discussing with them, focus on the firstly try and find out the pain points will come to you either from the employees or from the departments or from within your team. Once
Yeah.
you know these are the things I have to tackle, then you try to focus on the benefits that you can provide by implementing a particular solution for that problem. Then the next step is you go and talk to the top bosses or the
Yeah.
leadership. Talk to them in their language, the language that they understand. You emphasize, this is the pain point, this is what I'm planning, these are the benefits that we can get from this particular solution, and I want to do it in a pilot way. Don't tell that I want to do it in a big way. Do it in a small way. Maybe,
Yeah.
a small step. If we are successful in doing the pilot, then we'll implement it in a larger way across, departments and the entire organization. And, also tell them that okay, I already have a buy-in from XYZ, so he knows that okay, he has already done his homework and then he has come to me, and I am the final one. He has just come to say get that yes or no from me. So I am yet to get a no from my bosses till now. So
Wow.
I have always got a yes by doing this. And like I said, address the concerns of the employees proactively. If you feel that you want to wait till the complaint or the issue comes to you, then it is too late. So you try to give a picture that okay, I'm proactively trying to do this so that we are able to address XYZ issues that might come up at a later stage from the employee side or from the
Yeah.
management side or from the client side. Anybody can be your customer, right? So try to put it up in that way. As far as the CFO is concerned, you put it in a way that, okay, it is an investment. It's not a cost. It will bring in efficiency. It will enhance the productivity. It will improve the employee experience. And all this finally will help in, generating revenues.
Sudeep, I want to just commend you on, what all you just told it. I think this is actually the playbook that should unfold in every decision making. And it's a masterclass for that in just, quick 5, 7 minutes that you gave us. First, understand who are you
Yes.
benefiting? What are their pain points? Speak their language, be strategic, spend your time well, speak their language. So all of that, I
Yeah.
think it is great. And that definitely is the path to get the things that you want to get approved. One of the questions that now comes in is AI at the core is data, right? And here we are
Yes.
talking about a lot of data from, of course, some of it is personally identifiable, though. So, and the others is their consumption patterns, their usage patterns, everything. Now, when so much data is
Yeah.
involved, these acts are coming in, and the legal landscape is very quickly changing. The ethics of
Yes.
AI is also, that's also something that people want to keep in mind. Sustainability is the
Yes.
third factor that people want to keep in mind. So there's so many moving angles that are there for a workplace itself. How is it? How are you adapting to this shifting terrain?
So, data already exists. Everybody has a lot
Yeah.
of data. I mean, today, each and every organization, if you ask them, we don't know how to use this data. Firstly, I mean, and this data is all scrambled. First and foremost, clean up that data. Ensure that that data is compliant to the extent that you need to put that compliance in the designing phase itself of the AI implementation or the whatever ML. Everything cannot be, I'm not talking about the Gen AI thing. It can be the normal something like a chatbot or something. I mean, uh, first and foremost, we need to make sure that all the data that is being fed into it is either employee data or customer data. And this data is so data privacy laws will come in. They are already on the table of the parliament. I think anytime this year or after the elections, it might be implemented as well. So now this Personal Data Protection Act, if it is tabled and it is implemented, uh, companies need to make sure that first and foremost the ethics in AI. For example, I will. Everybody knows about it today. The deep fakes that are happening. I mean, we all know that faces can be changed, things can be changed, things can be written by AI, and it can be used in a very wrong manner. So the same technology going into hands of wrong people can do wrong things in a very large context. At the same time, if it is done ethically and done properly, it can help a lot of things to smoothen up things. And to the next thing is the data governance and the transparency. So have a robust data governance framework. It is important that you ensure the transparency, the accountability, the compliance with the data protection regulations. If your risk team or your CISO or the whichever team is looking into this, if they are able to make sure that it is being followed to the T, it will help. Next, coming to is the continuous learning and adaptation, because right now you said that the expectation from employees are also changing, and we as the service providers to the employees also we also need to upskill ourselves. Once they are aware about the implications, once they are aware that okay, it's a very sensitive data and they need to be very cautious about how to use it, they will make sure that it is implemented and it is they will not make unnecessary or careless mistakes, I will say. Next, collaboration and engagement with all your team members. I mean, it is not just your team which is doing. You are just one of the user departments. So it is basically so have your the AI experts, your IT team, which is going to help or collaborate with the AI expert. Have your legal team at the
Mm.
same time available along with your own team, so that it's a collaboration when you are implementing it. So basically, you have to prioritize this, have ethical AI principles, have data governance, have data cleaning, and continuous learning and adaptation.
Yeah.
AI still is, I'll say, in nascent stages. So one of the main purposes is basically your, daily routine task and everything can be done by the machine itself.
Yeah.
And then you are able to think more strategic, do more strategic things, do more innovative things, and try to, support the organization in your own way. That to a certain extent, more 95% of the times I have been, rather 90% of the times, I was told that AI implementations fail. It has failed in large organizations. There's very few organizations who have been able to implement it in a very proper manner.
Yeah.
Rest of the organizations, they go with that ambition that okay, we want to implement it, but they have not been able to achieve it, or it will fizzle out in the middle because they don't have the correct set of people or the team is not collaborating properly. Something or the other happens and it does not get implemented properly.
So you talk about AI implementations, and I want to add to that mix the admin experience, because that's also another term that I am listening quite a lot in our interactions, which is administration as an experience, right? So it is not about give or take anymore. It is not about problem solution anymore. And then when you talk about AI implementation, are you also looking at certain implementations which might be adapting to the future in terms of workplace and administration as an experience? What are your thoughts?
See, yes, you said admin experience has become important, and I'll say today many organizations have started designating their facilities heads as employee experience leaders, or that kind of thing. It has started barging into the HR domain also. To some extent,
Yeah.
because finally, employee welfare was one of the things which was actually a part of HR, but today it is kind of a role which a admin manager is looking at. Um, you know, like I said, have that kind of a relationship and trust with your employees and your management. The earlier we used to have this CRM teams and client services teams, which are still there, which are existing. But you have to, like you said, you have to bring in that kind of, like, it's like kind of a hospitality. Now,
Yeah.
GM is responsible for everything in that particular hotel, the hotel that he is managing. Same way here, if you're managing a particular premise facility, you better be prepared to interact with each of the departments. Make sure that if you are able to interact with them and give a solution to whether it is the customer, whether it is your employee, whether it is the management, or even your own team, you
Yeah.
should be able to give a solution to them. And I call myself, being an army guy, most of the veterans you will find they'll call themselves as, jack of all trades, master of none, which is a good thing. You should be aware about all what is happening in your organization. So you prepare yourself, or you upgrade yourself to that extent that you are able to handle multiple things, and
Yeah.
that can happen by collaboration with other departments, cross training. So try to do cross training of your employees. Send them. I just do this. I just talk to an HOD. I say, I want my guy to go and learn internal audit with your team. The time is mine. I mean, I'm sparing him from my work. I'm just sending it to him to your department, and you make sure that he is given a buddy, or some
Yeah.
the senior study kind of a thing, whom he can be an understudy to, and learns the things. I have nothing to do with internal audits, but I have made sure there are team members who have moved into that field now. So that is one. So basically, adaptability and resilience. I mean, these are two things which you need to be a good admin guy. Then, of course, embrace, or adapt the technology. And next would be be a problem solving guy. So that is how army teaches you. So if there is no way, we try to find our own way out, and we'll give something, but we'll deliver a solution, is what is the simple thing that I tell the team. Make sure that no one goes back without getting a solution from you guys. If they go back that way, that means we are not doing our job. So that's the best thing, how you can judge your team, or how you can look into their performance.
Before we, end this call, are there any anecdotes that you feel would be very relevant for our audience to maybe know or learn from? Anything that comes to your mind, if there's something that you want to share more, specifically because I've seen that people learn more from experiences, and if there are any
Yes.
that you feel we should share.
Okay. So so maybe from my army experience, my wartime experience, I can give you one example, and how it helps. So, I was given a task to go and capture a particular post in Kargil during Operation Vijay. And so I started asking, so you start asking about what are the resources, what is it that you have with you, and you start planning, you have to go and capture it. So you start planning your attack plan and other things. So I asked my superior, who was on the other side of the radio set, with me on the radio set, sir, so how many soldiers do I have? How many men do I have to go and attack in this particular location? He says, who is there with you? I said, I have one person with me right now. He's a junior commissioned officer, JCO we called. So Subedar level guy. So I said he's there with me. So I get a response that okay, he's the guy who's going to be there with you. I said okay. And then I said, sir, where is the location? So I am given a location, like, okay, you go towards westward from where you are currently located. You will find a U-cut in the mountain. You'll find a hockey cut, and then you'll find a saddle. So you have to go and capture the saddle. Now in the mountains, a U, a hockey, and a saddle all look the same. Let me tell you,
Wow.
on a map they might be seeing it differently, but for me it was all the same. And I was like, okay, I have to go there and I have to capture that. Okay, I got it. I said, do I get any other, artillery support or any other things? So they said, no, not as of now. It has to be done quietly. So I was like, okay. And when it has to be done, it has to be done today. And I said, sir, I don't have a compass with me. I don't have a map with me. The only ammunition that I have is the ammunition I'm holding on myself and my weapon. That's a rifle. That's it. So they said, yeah, that is what you
That's
have.
it.
So, so go and capture. And then I was told that you will en route somewhere. You will meet with one more small team. If you are able to meet up with them, then you both the teams can. Both the teams means I was just with one guy. The other was supposed to be a team of about 8-10 people. Then you guys go and attack. I said okay, fine. And at the end of the day, actually, we went and captured that place. So that is what army taught us. So with that mindset, when I came to the corporate side of it, I mean, things I used to feel that okay, people have everything with them, and still they feel that okay, it is less.
Oh,
So
I
it started with that. So for the first thing I tell my team is whatever you guys have got today is much more than what you need to perform your task. If you're asking for something extra, that means you have to deliver, you know,
wow.
my expectations will be too high from you then after that. So that is how I start with them. And but I feel life out here in the corporate, it's not like it is not that difficult like we make it sound. It's up to our attitude how we take it. I mean, here I always tell one simple thing to the team that here we are working, we might go wrong. And what will happen if we go wrong? The maximum that can happen is we might lose out on some amount.
Yeah.
Some our profits might go down a little bit or our expenditure might go a little up. That
Yeah.
is it. That it's not going to cost anybody's life.
That's
But there,
true.
one small mistake, one small decision, it would have cost someone's life. So I
Yeah.
said, this is nothing in front of that. Yeah, you're losing some money or getting some. You might be able to get some money for the organization if you are able to do it right. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid of doing things, even if it is you're doing it and it goes wrong. Still, don't be afraid. At least I am there to support my team if they go wrong also. So
Super. That's a
you have
big,
to stand by them. Otherwise, they'll never work for you. They'll never
yeah.
work for you. So do that for them, and believe me, the moment you are doing it for them, they will always do wonders. It's not the question of looking after. Just be there with, and it's not that I am always good to them. I mean, the day I'm bad with them, I'll be very bad with them. But they know that for sure that we have made a mistake. That's why he is not
Yeah.
happy or he is upset. Otherwise, you create that kind of a culture within your team, and then things actually start happening.
Yeah.
So that is my personal, way of working.
Yeah, that was a big dose of inspiration for everyone, I'm sure. For me, of course, it was. So thank you so much, Captain
No,
Sudeep.
sorry.
It was an absolute delight to have you, and learn so much actually. And yeah, I think the audience would wait for this episode for sure. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much, Asta. And I hope I have been able to convey some message to the audience.
No, no, absolutely,
And I hope
absolutely.
they'll have some takeaway from this. Thank you
A
so much.
lot
Thank you.
many. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.